makes me me is that I don't want to die not doing all the things I want to do, basically. That is it.
Mr. Lee Brennan! The 200th episode.
What was the question again?
Can't remember.
This is what happens as well.
Something about being a famous boy band. You know, when you're touring the world, everyone says you're amazing, everyone's throwing themselves at you, throwing money at you. A lot of that's short-term pleasure. There's no real substance. In what season of your life are you in right now? What's the priority?
I'd say choose one thing at a time and focus on that. Accept that it's going to take longer than you believe it's going to take.
Yeah. Lee has just had a big birthday. Just turned 50, everybody.
I've got my glasses. That's another thing I've had to start wearing
Oh,
glasses.
now you know he's 50. He only looks even more handsome. What
Oh, that's better. Jesus.
Hi, I'm here.
Hey! To be ill with cancer made me the person I am today, but it definitely made me view the world and life in a different way. So when I was 9, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. I just had a real hate for myself, I think, straight away when I was kind of skin and bone and I was in a wheelchair and I lost all my hair. And I used to just look in the mirror and I hated myself.
Sometimes we get so lost in the big goals and all these things that we need to achieve when actually we won the biggest lottery. We're here, we're alive.
My definition of success is
Welcome everybody to this, the 200th episode of the Success School podcast. Cannot believe we've actually made it this far, but I just want to say thank you, every single one of you, whether this is your first time listening or whether you're a regular listener and supporter of the show. I really, really appreciate you spending time with us here at Success School, and it's a little bit of a different one today. Those of you that were around when we hit the 100th episode will know we did something a little bit bonkers, a little bit out there to celebrate the 100th episode. We actually broke a Guinness World Record. My cousin Dan Ramsden and I stayed up talking for over 53 hours. I know a lot of you that listen to me like, we know Matt can talk, so it probably doesn't shock you. But let me tell you, 53 hours is something very, very different. We did it. We officially broke the Guinness World Record for longest live audio only stream, which was a super proud, amazing moment. And I wanted to do something a little bit special for hitting this milestone as well at episode 200. And we did something arguably even more challenging, which was to put on our very first live in-person event. We did it over in Manchester on the 8th of October in an incredible venue called 53.2. We had some amazing guest speakers, and we also did our first ever live podcast recording in front of an audience with some engagement from the audience at times, as you'll see, because that is what today's episode is. I'm joined by my good friend, lead singer of the pop sensation 911, Mr. Lee Brennan. He's been on the show a couple of times before. He did indeed help us break that world record. He joined us for a short period of time, and it's an absolute delight to have Lee back on the show, as he's just hit a milestone himself, but I'll allow him to tell you that himself in the episode. So Lee joined us on the event. It was an amazing day. I want to say thank you so much, everybody that was there. If you haven't got your tickets yet already, we are doing our next event on Saturday, the 6th of January. I will have the link to buy tickets available in the show notes, so go click that if you want to get a ticket, and I'd love to see you there. But we've also got something else extra as a little bonus for this episode, because after the interview with Lee, I then invited back on stage all the guest speakers, including Ross Grant and Carron Cummings, again, two amazing speakers that have both been guests on this show before. And we did a bit of a Q&A where we invited the audience to ask those guys some questions as well. It was at times quite humorous, to say the least, but hopefully also inspiring, and maybe is going to give you some things that you can take away to think about and to implement after listening to this episode. So I'm super excited to be sharing this with you. This is the interview with Lee. It's also the Q&A with all our speakers. Please do enjoy the episode. And I know everyone always asks this, so it's probably just going to go over your head. But if you haven't already, I would appreciate you subscribing to this podcast on whatever channel you listen to it on. We are just a one-man band practically here at Success School. I'm not one of these podcasts with a huge team of people and a limitless budget that goes into this. So because of that, I do rely heavily on you guys by subscribing, by spreading the word, telling other people about it. So really appreciate it if you would be willing to do that for us. If you think this episode and this podcast genuinely can provide value to people, then I would really appreciate it if you could help me start to help other people help themselves by sharing, by subscribing, just by generally creating more awareness for what we do here. But thank you again for being here. I cannot believe we are about to hit play on the 200th episode of Success School. Enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. The first thing I want to do, for those that aren't maybe familiar, is just talk a little bit about your story, because I know you've not had the easiest time. I'm thinking like back in your childhood and stuff like that. Can you just talk specifically on the subject of mental resilience?
Okay, so I'll firstly, hello everyone, nice to see you all.
Hiya.
Hope you've had a great day. It's been amazing to see, listen to you, Matt, as well. First off, I'll talk about a little bit about my kind of health journey. So briefly, so when I was 9, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that was a huge kind of traumatic thing at that kind of age, as it is for anyone with events and, you know, trauma when they're young. And missed a year of school. I was in and out of isolation in Newcastle Hospital, the Royal Victoria Infirmary. It was an amazing hospital to be in. If I had to choose one to be in, it was that one. And then I had about 5 years. I was in remission for 5 years, and then when I was 15, it returned again. Hodgkin's lymphoma returned again. Missed another year of school, and just going through all the chemotherapy stuff, and kind of felt really isolated, I think.
And I think 15 as well, it's such... I mean, I'm sure we all can agree, at 15, we're pretty obsessed with body image, with, you know, what people think of us, you know, judgment, all that kind of stuff. What was that like to be, you know, we spoke about today about this fear of being different. How was that for you?
I mean, I can go back to 9-year-old, and I was very aware
Yeah.
of... I just had a real hate for myself, I think, straight away when I was kind of skin and bone, and I was in a wheelchair, and I lost all my hair, and I used to just look in the mirror, and I hated myself. Yeah. So I think there was a very quickly, my self-confidence, self-esteem, everything was on the floor, basically. And I used to isolate myself from the world, used to stay in, didn't used to go out very much at all and kind of interact with people. And yeah, like you said, more sort of 15, you're kind of like, you're looking at potential girlfriends and stuff like that at school, and you want to look your best. And I became quite obsessed with trying to look perfect from where I'd been twice with no hair and skin and bone and stuff like that. So it was really a real difficult time. But I think to also contrast that with kind of mindset. When I was in isolation, I do remember when I was 9, I had to live in my head, really, because I was just stuck in a bed. Yeah. I had no kind of strength to do anything, so I was stuck in my head. So I created scenarios, I created kind of positive stories for myself, and I kind of lived through those kind of thoughts and dreams in my head about what I'm going to do after I'm better.
Where did that come from? Because for a lot of people, they're still a child, they're going through a life-threatening illness, they feel different to everybody else. It'd be so easy to just be negative and just be like, life's shit. Hate this. Where did that positivity come from, that creativity?
I've no idea. I actually don't know. I think growing up, I was always just a pleaser. I was a real child pleaser. Always just smiling at everyone, strangers and stuff like that. And I think I decided that I needed to just kind of give myself a break from all the shit I was going through at the time. And I just wanted to create some kind of some nice things, nice thoughts in my mind. Like one that stuck out for me was I wanted to lift the FA Cup for Carlisle United at Wembley. So I was like, I'm going to do it. When I'm better, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And there's loads of things, and we'll come on to me as an adult, I guess. But yeah, that kind of led on to how I am now as well.
Well, was any of them to be in a world-famous boy band and tour the world? Was that one of the bucket list?
No, footballer. I wanted to be a footballer.
Oh, you fucked it. What a failure.
Too small. Snooker player, footballer, all of that kind of thing. But I just wanted to do something. No, definitely not
We're
basketball.
definitely not doing that, are we?
Not 5'5" basketball players, no.
No.
So yeah, and I think it did set, it made me, and it sounds weird to be ill with cancer, made me the person I am today, but it definitely made me view the world and life in a different way. than I probably would have if I hadn't went through that experience because it was probably about 8 years until I was completely fit and healthy again.
Wow.
And then I went into a boy band, so that's even...
I think you're right, and I think, for something we can all reflect on is the things that challenge us the most have the potential to make or break us. Carron has given a great story today. Ross, losing his dad at such a young age. These life-defining moments, they'll go one way or another, and it's about having the ability to be self-aware enough to recognize that this is an opportunity. And you might not feel it straight away. I mean, you absolutely won't, in some of the cases we've spoke about today. There's going to be a process you have to go through. But then it's about finding the strength in that experience, finding the lessons and using it to grow. Talk to me, Lee, about, obviously, you then went into a super successful boy band, and we spoke about it on previous podcasts, about that journey and getting picked and meeting the other lads, which was a great chat. But I'm interested in the subject of fame, because I just think, especially now, more than ever, with social media and all these shit reality TV shows and Love Island and bollocks, it's just like everybody, it feels, wants this external validation through Instagram likes and getting on TV and all this kind of stuff. You've had that, and you still have that on some level today. I'm interested, what is some of the best things about fame? I'm interested, what is some of the worst things that probably not everybody will be aware of, that they don't know about?
I mean, I think the best things about fame, you get to travel the world, you kind of have that first-class lifestyle, you get to meet some amazing people. I've got some of my really good friends are still from back in the day, 28 years ago. So meeting some great humans was a big thing as well. Getting to experience big shows around the world and stuff, having a number one hit, and having a constant buzz, a constant high of that adrenaline was all the real amazing stuff. And
still doing it today. Do you want to just tell people about the hit that you've just had?
Yes, we've just had a number one in Asia and in February, and it's got like over 50 million YouTube views now. So
50 million.
It's kind of cool. We're back kind of. Thank you. So yeah, it's quite
not bad for a failed basketballer, is it?
So we're back and forwards to Asia a lot at the minute.
Yeah.
So there's some big shows going on out there. So yeah, the advantages are everyone can kind of guess what they would be.
Yeah.
But I think people can abuse that power that they have, because there's a lot of power, I guess, when you have a bit of fame and stuff like that, and people think they can do whatever they want.
Take advantage.
Yeah, and I think the disadvantage, and I think it leads on from my last chat about cancer. Although I had a real mindset to do everything, I wanted to achieve something and lift the FA Cup and all that kind of stuff. The contrast to that was, I think I was desperate for attention as well after I've been through all that. And a boy band, you can't get a better job to get attention. But I learned also through that isn't the thing that's going to fix what's inside, how I feel about myself and that. But I think people
because then I guess that was a whole journey again. You can aspire for fame, for fortune, all these things that society tell us, will bring happiness. And then that's a journey in itself when you realize that's not where the answers lie, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's one thing that I found out. I wasn't aware at the time. I was like, oh, this is great. I feel great now. But after it finished and the highs kind of stopped and the record label was finished and that, I realized then that actually, yeah, shit.
Do you know what? It's going back to what we said earlier about happiness, that you can get happiness from fulfillment or pleasure. And I think, when you're touring the world, everyone says you're amazing, everyone's throwing themselves at you, throwing money at you. A lot of that's short-term pleasure. There's no real substance, or you can find that there's not substance. And then I assume the journey you went on is to find what brings fulfillment, what, the true substance is. And I know now you're very into mental health, mindset. You've recently become qualified as a personal trainer, and you're going down that route. Give it up for Lee, by the way. It's so easy to be a lazy pop star and just sing, but you've gone out there getting
It's that thing again, though, when I was, after I was well again and stuff as a teenager, I wanted to do everything, and I still want to do everything. I've studied counselling, I've nutrition, a PT coach, I produce events, I still do 911 stuff. I want to do everything before I die, basically.
Why?
That's the mindset. Because of what I went through, I think that was the trigger.
Make it count.
Yeah.
every day is an opportunity, don't waste
Yeah.
it sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't work, and that's okay as well. So yeah.
So fame, if you can have a life with it or without it, based on the upsides and the downsides, what would be your answer? Would you still choose the fame?
The fame really doesn't. I've got no obsession or interest in jumping on TV shows for the sake of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why you've probably never seen many things. I don't do.
I've seen you. So you did
What did I do?
Chef Pat Lunch, didn't you?
Oh, Steph's. Oh, who wouldn't want to do Steph's back?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a little
You do a
competition
few
to
bits.
do.
But yeah, that's not the drive then.
No, it's not the driving force.
isn't
I've got
fair.
too many other things I want to achieve in life, like, writing, the song that we had #1, that was co-written, so I'm still doing that kind of stuff. Writing is a huge thing for me as well, so I want to continue that. So yeah, what was the question again?
Can't remember.
This is what happens as well.
Something about being a famous boy band.
I haven't got a clue.
And I've heard a preview of what's coming up, and you've got a great song coming out, so make sure, if you're not already, check out Lee, because he's got a really good banger. Am I allowed to say that? Have I just fucked all confidentiality?
Is this the up-tempo one?
Yeah.
No one knows, but yeah, it's cool.
Oh, shit. Delete your Facebook Live, sorry. Talking now about, all the experiences you've had when we look at mindset, well-being, have you got anything you can share with everybody today that are like your non-negotiables, that through your experiences, what you've learned, that when you're doing things consistently, these are the things that help you stay positive, help your mindset? Have you got any like daily habits or anything like that you can share?
Daily, it's all over the shop at the minute, to be honest, my kind of routines and that.
And traveling and stuff.
Yeah, I think because I kind of like live 50% in hotels everywhere. So
Yeah.
sometimes I go through a phase where I won't do any training, I won't go to the gym for like 4 months. My nutrition will be not on point the way I'd like it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes if there's like something coming up and I get an 8-week gap to do, I'll do like an 8-week program and I'll get back on it kind of thing. So, I mean, I have a lot of time. I'm in my head a lot of time, so I'm just sitting creating in my head, writing songs, thinking about what event I can create or something like that. But my daily kind of rituals, as long as I have a coffee in the morning, that kind of sets me up for the day.
Solves everything.
As long.
God, why did we come to this event? We could have just all had coffee and we would be fine.
And I can admit, like, although I'm a kind of a nutrition coach and fitness coach, I have a high protein diet, that's about it. But I don't get my steps in many days at the minute. I just don't. I'm kind of a lazy PT at the minute. I don't have time to do PTing because I'm too busy with 911 at the minute.
But here's the question, is that okay?
For me, personally, it's okay because I know I've got the drive to get back into it when I need to do it, stuff like that.
And I think as well, something that Lee's touched upon there that I really relate to is seeing life as seasonal. Like for me personally, I can have a life sometimes similar to Lee, where it's a lot of traveling, a lot of different stuff, a lot of variety in my life. But it's recognizing what season of your life are you in right now, And what you will find is it's about focusing what's the priority. Like if Lee's got some really, really exciting stuff happening with the band, it's like the priority is we're going to, get 50 million views on YouTube. We're going to make this the best work we can possibly make. That doesn't mean that necessarily he's going to have the time to go into the gym every day and getting everything perfect. But then the next season of his life might be, right, starting to feel a bit more around here that I don't like. I'm now taking my eye off the ball. So the next season now is focusing on health. And I really want to highlight that point because I think, again, shit coaches make you feel really shit for not being superhuman all year round. Lee is exceptionally successful. He's in good shape. But also he recognizes he's not going to be smashing all his goals every single day for his health, for his relationships, for his mindset, for his band, for his business, for his event. He recognizes that's not possible. So I think just a key takeaway for everybody is what season are you in right now? What's the priority? And make that a focus. And I would always say, try and make health regardless a priority, right? You don't want to complete, like when Lee is touring, it's not just constantly like, let's just drink alcohol from the minute we get up to go to bed and eat McDonald's. I don't think, is it?
No. It's
okay,
not.
thank you for
Definitely
confirming.
Yeah.
Right.
Like consciously, I'm always consciously aware, even when I'm away and kind of abroad and stuff like that. I'm always kind of like, I'm just aware of it all now, a lot more than I ever was, I think.
Now that you are into fitness coaching, if somebody here feels like they've struggled with fitness and maybe weight and those kind of subjects, What's some of the go-to advice you would give to help people break that cycle when people have been maybe struggling for a long time?
I think many of us go all in, and we think that's the only way to do it.
Yep,
like
been
we
there.
go all in, and then within a week or two, something's not happening. You think, oh well, I might as well not do it anymore. Nothing's shifting. There's no weight shifting or anything like that. I can't stick to it. I can't go to the gym. I promised myself 5. We make promises that we always break. Stop making those promises that you know you're going to break. I'd say choose one thing at a time and focus on that, and get that action and the habits on that one thing to start with, and then add the next one. That's what I tell my clients to do, and that's what I do with everything in my life. I think I just focus on one little thing and go, right, stop trying to change everything. You can't do it yet.
100%.
And also, I think accept that it's going to take longer than you believe it's going to take. That's one thing as well, isn't it?
Ross said that great quote by Tony Robbins earlier about most people overestimate what they can achieve in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in a decade. I really advise you start thinking in decades, because things do take longer. But what Lee's saying there is, when you have the all-in mentality, you go all in for 2 weeks, you then have a bad day, you then think, oh, fuck this, I'm a failure, you quit, and then you have a bad month. And that's where we get that yo-yo. Rather than, like you're saying, Lee, just pick one thing and just be consistent as best as you can, and then build on that one thing. Over a decade of that sort of attitude, you can achieve a lot.
I think learn patience is a good one as well.
Yeah.
We're so impatient with ourselves. We want everything now, but I hate talking about weight, because I know it's a touchy subject.
It's touchy, but it's important, right?
It is important, but I think we didn't put weight on our body over a week. We did it over a period of time, so it's not going to come off in a week either. Do you know what I mean?
Great advice. Now, most of you that listen to this show every week are also already members of our incredible membership, so you don't need me to tell you how amazing that it is. If you're not a member, I'm not going to list everything that you get, because it's completely free to join anyway. So all I would say is click the link in our show notes, head on over, start your membership, and you will find out for yourself. But simply put, the membership is this. It is there to give you the guidance, the support, the accountability, the community, and the information that is there if you actually want to start to become a person who achieves what it is you say you want to achieve. If you want to become that high performance action taker, that person that is a go-getter, that has got the support to start making change in every single area of your life, that's what the membership does. That is what we are there to do. And I can tell you now that if you take action, if you sign up, and if you commit to consistently engaging with the membership, I can almost 100% guarantee you that it will positively impact every single area of your life. But I can't do that for you. You are the missing link. You need to click that link. You need to sign up. You need to join us, and you need to get involved. If you do, the results will come. The question is, will you do it? I don't know, but I really hope so. And if you do, I'll be excited to welcome you into the community. Guys, I've got a question to ask. If you are listening to this podcast right now and you haven't yet purchased a ticket for our live in-person event, what on earth are you doing? You need to stop listening. You need to go purchase your ticket, and you need to make your way to Bradford on Saturday, the 6th of January, to get yourself in the room. No excuses. I don't care if it's your day of your wedding. Cancel your wedding. You can postpone it. It's not as important as this. If you were at the first event that we did in Manchester, you will know just how powerful it is to get into a room full of people who are like-minded, to engage in the great content, to meet the guest speakers, and to bloody well meet me. Like, what more do you need? All jokes aside, I seriously think out of everything I've ever done, putting on these events is the thing I enjoy the most. I think it is the most powerful and impactful, and it has the potential to genuinely change your life. It has the potential to help you connect with some great people that could become lifelong friends. There's just so many benefits. What I've done is I've put the link to get tickets in the show notes of this episode. So just head over there if you want to get a ticket. There's going to be some great speakers. We're also going to be doing some group breath work. We're going to be doing some group coaching where I'll be there coaching you guys on the day. We'll be talking about some stuff that's genuinely going to get you thinking about what you want out of your life and what you need to be doing to take the steps to make those changes. You're also going to be invited to do some cold water therapy. It's not compulsory. There's just going to be the opportunity if you want to do it. I certainly will be doing it. So if you want to get in an ice bath with me, that will be available to you. We're also going to be having some really healthy, nutritious foods available to eat on the day. It's just going to be such a positive day. The way that I'm sort of marketing it is like a little mini retreat in Bradford. Who knew? Who knew you could do that in winter in Bradford? It's happening, like I say, on the Saturday the 6th. It's going to be in the day, and I would love to see you there. Click the link to get your ticket. Drop me a message. You can either email me at successschoolgroup@gmail.com or DM me on the various social media handles if you've any questions. But do get your tickets fast, because I'm not just saying this is a marketing thing. I am very, very pleased to see they are selling very, very quickly. So don't procrastinate. Take action, and I'll see you there. So some of you may not be aware that Lee has just had a big birthday. You don't look it, mate.
I have.
It's just turned 50, everybody.
Wow.
And
50.
I literally commented on your 50th post, and I said, if I look like you at 50, I have won at life.
It's a big number, isn't it?
I don't know. I ain't got a clue. I've got a long way to go, mate.
You lucky git, yeah.
That's what I want to ask you about. Hitting a milestone, hitting, the new decade, going into your 50s now. As somebody who's known for being the cute boy band member, how does it feel? What's your reflections on this life stage?
Exciting. To be honest, the last couple of years I've been thinking, excuse me, about my 50th birthday. I was like, right, for my 50th, I'm going to do things that I've never done before. So one of them was to write, I usually co-write songs, but one of them was, and I don't play guitar and piano very well, but I can do chords. And I was like, right, one of my goals is to write a song, just me, 100%. And I've done that, and I'm recording that next week, and that's getting released in about 6 weeks. And then my next one was to do my first ever solo show, and I'm doing that right in here, in the end of November, yeah. And it's nearly sold out as well, so it's like, cool.
Amazing.
So,
and they're going to give him a stage as well.
Yeah,
bastards.
I need one though. I'm a short ass, Matt, so I need one. But I think just excitement, really. It is a big number, but I don't kind of look at it as a, oh shit, I'm getting on now. I look at it like, what can I do that I haven't done in life yet? I've done a lot of stuff already, but I've got loads of stuff I want to do now, and just, yeah. And I look back now, and I remember like when I was like 25, 30, saying, shit, I'm getting older, But it's only when I can now look back and go, and I say it to people who are young who say stuff to me, God, I'm so old now at 25. I'm like, listen, when you get to 49, 50, you'll understand and accept that, yeah, you are very young, so just get on with your life and enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Love that. All right, we're going to go into some deep questions.
Ooh. I think I've written down some stuff for you because I've got a brain.
Can you read any of it, Lee?
I've got my glasses. That's another thing I've had to
put
start wearing
them
glasses.
Now you know he's 50.
Now you know I'm 50.
Now it all is becoming... Here he is! Oh, he only looks even more handsome. What a bastard.
Oh, God, that's better. Jesus.
Hi, I'm here.
Hey! Do you know that thing on your phone? You can actually make the letter in huge. I've done that as well.
Yeah, oh, God. Right. You're not selling it to me, Lee.
I accept it. I'm accepting of it. That's a good thing.
That's good. All right, so we're going to do some live questions. So the first question is, what is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received in your life, and why?
I'm going to go with...
We take some off as well in between.
I'm one of them. I don't just hang them on my nose.
No,
that's when you know you're old, if you hang them on your nose.
Has anyone got that, by the way? We haven't offended anyone. Oh, Caroline,
yeah, don't drop them on your nose.
Means you're old, apparently.
It was when I was in Vietnam just a few weeks ago, and I had them on the end of my nose, and a fan came up to me, a young fan came up and said, "You're an old man if you wear them on the end of your nose." I was like, I've stopped ever since.
Yeah, fair enough. You're passing the lesson on. Okay.
Best bit of advice, I would think, learn the art and the skill of listening. I think it's a huge thing. Learn to listen, and also I think listen to learn. We can't learn anything if we're speaking. But a lot of us also, I think we're all guilty of this, me included. We're not perfect, Matt.
Well, speak for yourself.
I think a lot of us, when we're having conversations and we're not really truly listening to a person, I think we can kind of store up our answer, basically. We're kind of thinking, wow, we're going to answer this one. It's like the ammunition of what we're going to reply to that. And we've completely missed something we could have learned, which is really valuable, maybe. So I think that is a huge thing. And I learned that from my first ever counselling sessions many years ago. And then I went to study counselling as well. And I love listening to people because it gives them an opportunity in space to kind of reveal stuff maybe they don't get a chance to. Yeah. And I love that.
Can we give a round of applause? That is great advice. I think if we can all learn to listen a bit more, because you're so right, and I think it's something I've really tried to, because I was shit for it. I just listened to respond like, all right, finish talking, and then I can speak.
Pardon?
Very good.
That's the lot.
It's something that I had to really work on doing the podcast is, I think you get the best conversations when you do truly listen. I actually spoke to a guy recently as well who said, because he's a single guy, and he was like, when he goes on dates, he's come up with a rule that is he wants to learn 5 things about that other person. And obviously it's not just something you apply necessarily to dating, but I just thought that's a really good thing, is to go in with the intention to learn 5 new things about that person, rather than going with the intention to make them like you, or, you come off a certain way. So I really, really like that advice.
Yeah, I like that as well, actually, 5 things.
You can have it.
I'll do that on my next date.
Yeah. All right, next question is the polar opposite to that. What would you say is some of the worst advice you've received, and why? The
worst one was definitely don't leave your job to move to Glasgow and join a boy band. That was it.
Yeah.
I was in a football team back in Carlisle, and I loved it. Loved the lads we played with. But like the amount of the guys in the team that came up to me and went, "What the are you doing?
Yeah.
You'll do all."
Yeah.
And I was like, but I'm again going back to the mindset I built after I was ill was like, yeah, but if you never try, you never know.
Yeah.
And what if? Who cares? Like, just go for it.
You just did 2 Coldplay lyrics in one, and I know Dan at the back loves Coldplay.
Did you pick it up, Dan?
Never try.
They're my best band in the world. My favourite band in the world.
They are a good band, yeah. Not as good as 911, but yeah, go on, carry on.
Slightly. Yeah.
Great.
So, and I've completely forgotten what.
No, I think that's great, because I think
Yeah.
That's it. He went on to, achieve some great things, but it's so easy to listen to those around us who are giving advice based on their beliefs and their fears. And they think, well, that only happens to a small percent of people. It won't happen to you. Imagine if you listened.
Well, yeah, I'm one of those that I'll just run and jump and see what happens. And if it works out, I'll go, cool, at least I took the action. But if it doesn't, I'm like, cool, at least I tried it. I had fun, I experienced something.
That's the attitude,
and learned something,
right?
and it's like, just do it,
That's the difference. If you're okay with quote-unquote failing, you can't lose.
Yeah,
if you see it as I'll learn whatever happens, I'll get an experience, then there's nothing to fear, right? Okay, next question. What is one of your... Oh, you don't like this one. He's had a look. What is your biggest mistake you made in your life, and what did it teach you?
Okay. Biggest mistake. I've been thinking about this.
You haven't wrote all
I think
have
I've been
you?
quite a good boy in my life. No, I'm joking. No, is this a mistake that the biggest mistake I feel, anyway, is that I allowed about a decade to go by with not doing anything that I wanted to do because I believed that I was worthless and pathetic and not good enough to do anything that I wanted to do. So I literally had about 10 years of my life which I lost through being sad, depressed, and I was just lost. So I think is that a mistake? Well, it's just lack of awareness, I guess, isn't it, back then? But I see it as a mistake, but I don't dwell in it now. I've got over it, thankfully. But yeah, something that really annoyed me for many moons.
How did you get out of that?
I got out of it, so because of I always refer back to cancer, I scrutinised myself, I became obsessed in a real bad way, and then...
With like your image?
My image, my face, and then getting in 911, it really magnified that tenfold.
Because now everyone's looking at you, right?
Yeah, and I hated myself even more during the whole process of that. So it was only after it all finished, I was trying to deal with all that, and it took me about 10 years. And I remember one day, I stood in the mirror. I used to do a ritual when back then now my ex-wife, every day, like when she wasn't around, I'd look in the mirror, I'd call myself the worst names. I'd like call myself, everything you can think of. You are an ugly whatever, and you're this, you're that, and you're so haggard, you're old. And I was literally 27 at the time.
Wow.
But it's a real bad. But I realised from that moment I have to stop because I'm going to go around the twist if I keep calling myself the names I'm calling them. And I was doing it out loud when I was by myself as well. So.
And you spoke about things like counselling, helping with that, right? And getting help, not just dealing with it all on your own, right?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to do it by myself to start with. I think I did it 50-50. So I started off by myself, going right. Okay, I just asked myself a few questions, and I was lucky to live next to the River Thames in London. So I decided that every day was going to be a walk from where I lived into Richmond town centre, grab a coffee, and then walk back. And that was the start of my just kind of opening my mind up to. Looking at the smallest things. I think when you focus on the smallest things sometimes that kind of really just it sparks something. Like so literally and it like you said it sounds wanky, but
everything I've said today does, so you're in good company.
Like looking at there's beautiful trees along the Thames on the walk to Richmond and stuff like that. And I used to focus on like leaves, colours of leaves, and I'd stand looking at a tree and stuff like that, and I used to really get in the moment with it. And little things like that, I used to do it more and more every day. And then I saw other things and other things, and it slowly built up. And then I got some counselling, which was just incredible. And from there, I was like, bloody hell, I'm gonna do this until I'm in a good position.
So it's like kind of appreciating the beauty in the small things, and I think we can all agree, like doing more of that enables you to get more present, and also helps you be more grateful. Sometimes we get so lost in the big goals and all these things that we need to achieve, when actually we won the biggest lottery. We're here, we're alive. We get to experience life, but sometimes we don't stop and appreciate the beauty. And I think that's kind of what you're referring to right there.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, this is a tough question. If you haven't got notes on this, we'll just move over it because I know this is a shit one to be put on the spot with. But what's one question nobody ever asks you that if you were asked would reveal the most about you?
This was a hard one.
I know.
Okay, so I think what makes me me.
Yeah.
And
what makes you you,
it's
Lee?
kind of deep, isn't it?
I'm going to ask you.
Okay. And I think I've said it already, but what makes me me is that I don't want to die not doing all the things I wanted to do, basically. That is it. So
Yeah.
I'm relentless, I'm determined, I'm a fighter, I'm driven. I probably know the shit out of people around me. But I'm doing everything in a positive way for myself, and if people see that as a negative, then they're kind of removed anyway.
Yeah.
But that's basically it. I don't want to die regretting not doing all the things I was scared to do, basically.
That's the thing that guides you when you're making decisions. Is this...
Now it is, yeah. I'm scared doing stuff, and I get nervous doing stuff, and anxious about doing things because I'm like, could I do that? And then I just remind myself that, well, it doesn't matter if you can or not. Just try it, like.
Yeah.
And then I can go, cool, that's another tick. I've got like a massive tick list of boxes that over the years I'm trying to kind of fulfill things, even the smallest things, but also big things. And I want to see how far I can get doing them. And when I was getting it right, and that's cool. I'm dead chill with it all. If I fail, great, whatever, it's fine. So,
That's
yeah.
it. I think that's such a superpower as well, coming back to that thing again, not fearing failure, because I honestly believe it's one of the biggest things that holds people back, and that's just something that keeps coming up in what Lee's saying. He's like, what will be, but I'm going to try. I'm going to give it my best shot.
I think another thing was, someone said to me was, do it scared.
Yeah.
That's it, just do it scared. You're going to feel that fear anyway, and just do it scared.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know on the other end of that, he's going to be like, bloody hell, I didn't realise I'd do that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
All right, so the 3 truths question. Some of you saw it on Ross's video earlier. I speak a lot about my podcast, Success School, is ultimately about how I believe that traditional education didn't truly go deep into the subjects that are going to make us successful. It didn't really talk a lot about mental health, didn't really talk a lot about finances, and it didn't talk a lot about fitness and nutrition. They're kind of the core subjects that I believe we all need to be experts on, because if we really understand those subjects, then we can start to live a truly happy, healthy, fulfilling, successful life. So the idea of Success School is that we talk about those subjects. So based on that, Lee, and based on the idea that maybe you've learned more through life experience in terms of, living a happy, healthy life versus traditional experience at school, What would you say were the 3 truths that if you share them with everyone today, if they live by these 3 rules, these 3 lessons, let's call them, you believe they'll have a pretty successful life?
Wow, the pressure. You've probably said it all today. I think we might have
Probably,
said some
yeah,
of them,
but they'll trust you more
so-
than me.
I'm not sure. I did write a few little things.
Yeah.
I think a real good thing is to stop giving up when things become difficult is a really big thing.
Yeah.
And I think I used to do that with certain things.
Yeah.
I just gave up because I thought, it's too difficult, this, I'm not going to do it. But you just got to keep smashing through and walking forward and getting to that thing that you want to try and get to. And that's one. Another one I had was, we've said this one about, you will fail at things and that's okay. Keep going anyway.
Yeah.
Always just keep going forward. Like, it's only our belief of it, isn't it? Have you talked about beliefs before? Yeah. I was listening to you talk about beliefs today, and there's just huge things in it. Yeah. And most of the beliefs we have are lies. So it ain't the truth most of the time, is it? Yeah. It's like when I go back to when I said I used to look in the mirror and tell myself things, lies. Yeah. But I believed those lies, Another one I had was, I think I spoke about this. No one is coming to save you. It's something I learned as well, and it's not. It sounds really horrible. It's quite oh shit. All right, I'm in this by myself. But I think ultimately we are. Ultimately, and it's nice to have a lending hand along the way. People guiding us, going to events like this, which can inspire us. Yeah. But ultimately, it is as no one's coming to grab you by the hand and go, do you know what, that goal you've been wanting for 10 years, I'm going to just give it to you. So it's one thing, and I think, we need to get out of that mindset that someone's going to come and save us, basically, and give us what we desperately want. So,
I love it. I totally agree.
And I don't know if that's a Tony Robbins line or what, I don't know.
I've heard Mel Robbins say it.
Oh,
Me and Ross said, you don't have to have a surname Robbins to be successful in this industry, but it does help. It was Mel Robbins. No, they're not related either.
That's weird. I thought they were. But also, there's a thing I was going to say about Mel Robbins was, and you might have heard the theory of let them theory that Mel Robbins talks about. You heard that? Do you want to tell us? Go on. You've got a good version of you. Go on, you say it.
She just talks about like different circumstances, like that. If you're coming across somebody during the day, and they have an opinion about you, let them have it. Let them have it. Stop trying to change what other people think of you. Stop trying to stop people influencing you in different things. Just let them. People have got their own things going on, and just let them. It's not like about being people walking all over you. It's just like you've just got to. She gives about 20 examples, and I thought about one example, so it was well worth watching. You go on. I'll give you a bit of time.
Lee's got.
So, another example I think is like if your friends invite all your other friends out for brunch and they didn't invite you, let them. Yeah. It's just, and I think it gives you peace, I think, and also it reminds you that you can't control what other people want to do or say. So, why dwell on it? Why hold that on you? That weight on you? You don't need to hold it.
Amazing.
Let them.
Love that. All right, final question that I ask all the guests. I've asked you 3 times before, Lee. Sick.
I've probably forgotten though.
Age.
50s.
All right, Lee. Final question is: what is your definition of success?
This is going to sound boring again because I've mentioned this quite a lot, but my definition of success is doing things that I was scared to do. That is it. I feel really proud when I've done the smallest thing that I was scared to do because I thought, oh shit, someone might say something. What if I fail? What if I look stupid? So I don't care now. I'm just like, cool. I'll happily look stupid.
Really?
I'll happily fail. I'm cool with it all. I think I'm at a peaceful place in my life. Still got we all have our own stuff going on, but I'm kind of ultimately a really kind of balanced place, and I'm cool with that. But I think that's a good one. The scared thing I think it was a life changer for me.
Yeah.
Stop being scared to live life that you want to live. It doesn't sound right. Just do it. What we're waiting for. What's the saying? If not now, when? Like, no.
Give it up for Lee, everyone. Woo! If not now, when?
Thank you. Actually, just then.
Oh, you're taking over the event now. Go
yes.
on.
I just want to say, I want to talk about you, Matt. I've known Matt for 5-6 years now, and I've watched him do all his coaching stuff, and I've watched him grow his business, and he's amazing guys. And this is his first seminar, is that right?
First one, yeah.
So can we give it up for Matt?
Thank you.
He deserves it all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Guys, we're going to, only about 10 minutes, I want to invite all the guest speakers on, and I want to give you the opportunity to speak to the speakers. I thought that'd be quite nice. So please do welcome back to stage. We got Carron and Ross. Come on up.
Doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. Stand a little.
All right, guys. Ask any of us whatever you think we can help you with or whatever you want to know. If you just want to put your hands up. Anybody got any questions for any? Dominic, over to you first, mate.
So this is for Lee. So this is going back to your 911 days. What did you do when the band ended to kind of keep that inner validation going?
I didn't have any. Well, I was a right mess afterward. So 2000 was when 911 kind of first finished. And I was just sad, depressed, felt a failure. Weirdly, I felt a failure after having success in the group and stuff. And it took a good number of years before I came out of that sad, depressive state. So yeah, literally lost about 10 years of being isolated from many people and things, yeah. So not great.
Thought I might have a happy ending, Lee. Sean, over to you, mate.
Hi there, my question's for Ross. Hi, Ross. So, unless it was Etsy, what was the side hustle that got you to the £1 million revenue?
So that's the main community that I run. So the community that these guys are part of. Anyone who's part of this basically acts on this, the TV Actors Network.
Woo!
If
you're not, scan his back.
You can all scan my back. It started off as really as an under the radar kind of way for me to meet people. I set up a community because I was feeling really alone as an actor. I graduated drama school. All my mates did normal jobs. They were like engineers. One was an aircraft engineer. One's is a woodworker. Like what do you call them? A carpenter. Yeah, sort of like makes doors and stuff. Whatever you call those people. My other mate Carl's an accountant, and I had nobody to speak to around the acting industry. And when we went out for beers, the last thing they would want me, to talk about is, I'm getting no auditions. I'm getting no self-tapes. I've got no agent. They're just like, they're not interested at all. So I created a community initially just to sort of meet other actors in the industry, and then I would record phone calls. I don't know if anyone's from like the really early days. I do a lot of like high-end podcasting now with really good kit, but back in the very, very early days, I literally would get on my home phone and then just ghetto style, like with a dictaphone almost, just record a phone call.
You could tell Ross has never been to the ghetto.
Yeah, I am very
ghetto style. I recorded the phone call.
I am very street. So and I would just put it online. And I started off. The first members who joined were paying £2.95 a month. So it's not like a high ticket thing. Today it's a bit dearer. Today it's like 27 quid a month, unless people have locked themselves in on an old school discount.
You cheapskates.
Yeah, but it's just been consistency. Like I say, that's not, it's not doing £1 million a year. I'm not super loaded. But the compound effect of showing up week after week after week and just ultimately just giving, value, content, to the community has now, when I logged into the platform that I run the community on now, when I saw that the other day, I thought, shit, we've finally ticked over £1 million. And I set that company up a decade ago in my mum's spare room in a council house. I was like, to think back then, this is going to make £1 million one day, I'd be like, I would not believe that. Because my beliefs back then were that, business is hard. People will, I have no value to offer. Why will people pay me any money? Very limiting beliefs that through evidence, slowly but surely of having people pay, every month you go, hang on a minute, if one person's paid, there must be 1,000 people out there. And that's literally all you need, guys. If you're setting up a community, 1,000 fans. It's literally it. 1,000 people will change your life forever if you can get them involved in something that you're passionate about. It's literally it. You don't need millions, just 1,000 people, that's it.
Nice.
So I hope that answers that.
Thanks,
No
Ross.
worries.
We'll go Mark, then we'll go Matt, yeah? All right, mate.
Hi, I'd like to address this to all members of the panel. Are you the panel? Because before I came here, I wrote down that I wanted to see what the similarities were between all three of you speaking. And I think that what I've noticed is that all three of you spoke about specific events in your life where there were turning points. But I think if we all reflect, everybody will have had significant events in their life, but it's maybe not affected them like that. So I wondered if you could maybe talk about what made you different to have that happen and for you to then turn it round, if that makes sense.
Yeah, when
Do you know
so
what I
many
mean?
other people would have it and it wouldn't affect
A lot of
them.
people have had loss, a lot of people have had significant illness, but it doesn't define them the way that all these three, it was a defining moment for them. So it's like tapping into that.
Carron, do you want to start? What makes you different?
For me, it was, I was raised as a Christian. In my family, we've always been taught, like, you know, if anything's going on in life, pray about it, believe in it. I know that it's all in God's hands. I pray every morning. I believe that God's going to take control over every single thing. And if it wasn't for that, I don't think I'd be where I am today. And honestly, that was that's it, prayer for me. So yeah.
Lee?
What's the question again?
Fucking hell, he is old. So, what Mark was saying is, everybody can have significant life events, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to go on to be the thing that makes them and not, you know, they use it in a positive way. Why did you use things like that in a positive way? The things you've been through.
I've never been a follower, me. I think I've always just been quite individual and do things that other people didn't want to do, didn't want to try. They were too scared to try. I think even at school, I think I was the one who wanted to do stuff that was just a bit random. So I think I think it's just the way I am. But obviously, as I've spoke about today, the catapult was when I was a kid. It suddenly changed something that I could view the world in a different way, and I knew that it was a world of opportunity, and I could do anything I wanted if I just tried to do it, basically.
Great. And it's that thing, right, of just not needing to fit in. I think that's the key thing, not needing to fit in. Ross, how about you?
I think... Oh, that was loud.
Here he is.
I think there's a few things for me. I think, as I say, my dad dying so suddenly, I think, you know, losing anybody's horrific, I imagine, but in a way, losing someone really suddenly, it's a little bit easier, I think, because you didn't have the build-up. I think it would be really awful, and I don't want to experience this, and my heart goes out to anyone who is, you know, when you know someone's terminally ill and you've got that build-up.
Sometimes years.
Yeah, and you know that's going to happen. So it was a massive, ultimately a huge shock to my entire nervous system, I think, just to lose, you know, this hugely significant person in my life overnight. And I remember specifically, I think I put a little bit of it on a slide before. Very vividly, I remember walking my mum up the stairs the day my dad died, and she was in absolute bits. Like, you know, I think I was a bit numb at the time, but I was sort of like the one who was trying to just deal with everything. My brother was in an absolute mess because he didn't get to see my dad that day. I invited him up. He phoned me and he was like, "Do I need to come up?" And I was like, "I think you do." And he didn't get there in time, unfortunately. So he was a mess. And my mum said that my mum's blind, like I said, and she trusted my dad for everything. My dad was the only person she would go out with and feel safe with. And she said to me, she said, "Ross, I'm finished." And just hearing those words, I was like, fuck. Yeah. So in a way, I think a big catalyst was not making it about myself. I think sometimes in those moments when you're faced with massive adversity, you can go inward, you can self-indulge. It can be all about woe me, woe me, woe me. And I get that. Sometimes life is really hard and it'll punch you in the face and you can feel like that. But I think sometimes doing things for others, and I know that sounds like a bit twee and a bit sort of like, you know, it's almost like selfish. It's not being, I'm trying to articulate, like, by almost sort of like doing the things for my mom, that was almost the thing that got me through. That wasn't me being selfless. It was like it enabled me to just stop thinking about my needs. and start thinking about others and going, well, you know, my back's against the wall here. My dad's just died. My mum's blind. I'm earning £5.75 an hour in a shop, and my dad's last words were, "You look after your mum," and I can't.
Yeah.
So I have to make it not about me anymore. It's got to
And
be
in doing
about...
that, it helps you.
Yeah, and doing that by focusing on what people would think was selfless was actually the thing that got me through it. So it wasn't me being selfless, it was the thing that I needed to do. So I think
Serving.
sometimes
You were
service,
serving.
yeah.
You were serving
Yeah.
your mum, and then you, in being able to do that in the darkest time, you were able to serve others, and that's what we're all here to do in this world, to serve others.
Yeah, honestly, that's it.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Great question. Thank you, Matt. Matt, over to you, mate.
Thank you. Guys, you've been amazing today. You really have. And Matt, thanks for creating this amazing event. Thank
Cheers,
you.
dude.
One of my biggest takeaways today is kind of all about discipline. And effectively, discipline is what you do when nobody's there, when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm really, really working on at the minute, okay, as part of my own personal development. So my question is to the panel is, how do you maintain discipline when no one's watching?
Ooh. The truth will out. Who wants to take that first? Not me.
Why did you ask that question?
I know she really doesn't want it.
Do I have to be the one? So
I'm sitting down for this. We could be a while. It's going to be fun.
I'm saying this. So, basically, in my everyday life, I've got to have so much control all the time. Yeah? And as a mother, as a businesswoman, as in serving people all the time. And to maintain discipline when no one's around, I don't. And that is freeing.
Get it up.
That
Truth.
in itself,
Truth.
honestly, when nobody else is around, that in itself is the discipline. Do you know what I mean? Being able to just stop and serve myself.
Yeah.
Because I pour into people on a daily basis. So, sometimes I've poured so much that I've left my cup empty, right? And that wasn't serving me at all. So knowing the balance between working and in my wellness, because if I don't make time for my wellness, I have to make time for my illness. So sometimes taking away control or trying to control everything and having no control and just relaxing and that really and truly is the way that what I do when no one's looking. I just go,
fuck you all.
I do. I don't swear about it, Matt, but you know.
I do.
I just say, do you know what, guys? It's time for me to do me and allow me to just be like a butterfly. That's where I'm at right now. I'm not in the cocoon anymore. I'm a butterfly, and I want to just spread my wings and do me at times. So yeah, that's my answer.
I mean, I'm just a complete mess.
Fucking hell. I'm getting some better speakers next time. This is shocking.
Like, if you could see my flat, it represents my head.
Well, just pretend. Pretend you're disciplined. They've paid money to get advice on discipline.
Okay.
We can't all say we're shit.
It's freeing.
So, yes, it's freeing though. Just,
It's freeing, yeah. Let's all just fucking eat cake. Get pissed. Sorry for swearing.
I am disciplined when it comes to, in the end, I'll be disciplined.
Oh, finally. When
But,
on his 60th.
When it comes to like the work stuff, the 60th. When it comes to work stuff, I'm on it. I'll be disciplined. I'll be professional about it. I'll get on with it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at home, I'm just a bit of a mess.
So it's about balance. There's a saying that you hear a lot in personal development that I don't agree with, and it says, how you do anything is how you do everything. I think that's bullshit. And I get it, and obviously I get the premise. I think it's a great premise. It's about saying have high standards for yourself, have high expectations, you know, whether that's buying your shopping in Tesco's or whether that be putting on an event, make sure the standard of how you do everything, how you communicate. I get it. I like that. But you have different things that are passions. You have different things that are strengths, and that's okay too. So there you go. I've saved you both. You sorted.
Thank you.
Fine. Ross, pull it back.
Well, I'm
Here we go.
I'm gonna feel like a show off.
You are one of the most disciplined people I know, and that's truth. And I respect and I admire and I look up to Ross. So teach us, Ross. How can we be disciplined?
For me, I think I can go too far the other way. I think I can be unhealthily disciplined, where I actually, when I said before, genuinely, that I was sat there thinking I need more pleasure in my life. Like, I genuinely, I'm like, I need to stop being so obsessed with work. Yeah. I need to actually learn how to chill out a little bit. I need a bit more time to actually just go, it's okay if you don't, get your steps in today, if you don't go to the gym. Yeah. But I think for me, how I stay disciplined, two things. One, I listen to things every single day that inspire me. So every opportunity that I can, because you can't feel inspired all the time on your own. The internal validation you get from your own identity that, I've developed an identity that I'm a guy who goes the extra mile, I serve others. A lot of positive things within my identity that sort of hold me accountable, but you can't wake up like that every single day, particularly, the day your mum phones you and says, "Hi, love, I'm not meaning to alarm you." Okay, but I'm in A&E. Well, you've alarmed me. So I always put positivity in my ears, ultimately, and whether that's a podcast, it could be one of Matt's podcasts, it could be I follow some great people online, Stephen Bartlett, Lewis Howes, Gary Vaynerchuk. I get inspiration constantly from people around me, which inspires me to do that thing I didn't feel like doing that day. I can easily be walking out of the gym some mornings honestly feeling bad. I do not want to go and work out. I do my workout, and I instantly am grateful that I have worked out. I can feel good for having done it. It doesn't mean I enjoyed the process. But on that 20 minutes to and 20 minutes back, my entire outlook for the day can change depending on what I'm putting in my ears. So don't watch the news. At the moment, it's horrific. Like, don't,
At the moment? When is it
Well, just full time, really, isn't it? And
turn it off.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that I do that's a bit weird, we've spoken about this, and you do this as well.
Oh, God.
It is. But yeah. It feeds back into the accountability stuff. So, do you know what? Running a community with 1,000 people in it, they will hold me accountable. They expect content. They're paying me every week, so they expect content on a Monday, on a Tuesday, a Thursday, a Saturday, when we put stuff out. But sometimes, going back to the things you do when no one's looking, I'll be in the gym. Lee, you might do this because you do the workout stuff. When you get into you set yourself, right, I'm going to do 8 reps or whatever. And it's weird, in your head, when you get to 7, you start feeling tired if you've only set 8. If you'd have set 10, you'd have probably got tired on 9. I'll convince myself something really dark's going to happen if I don't get out 10. And I'm like, right, if you don't get out 10, your best friend's going to die. And I'll get 10 out. And I'm like, sometimes the motivator running away from fear is greater than the motivator to run towards pleasure. There's that scientific experiment they did with cats. With cats and rats. They put a rat in a tube, and they put the smell of cheese at the other end of the tube, and they put the rat's tail attached to a spring so they could measure how much force it was using to pull towards the cheese. So it was going towards pleasure. And then they did the same experiment, but they wafted the scent of a cat in from behind the rat. So it had the cheese, but then it also had the danger behind it. And the pull was way harder moving away from danger than it was to just move towards pleasure. So I think in a way, I'm not saying it's healthy, convince yourself bad things are going to happen if you don't get the thing done, but occasionally it works for me, particularly when working out.
So I think I heard Stephen Bartlett speak about an equation for discipline, and what he said, you might want to write this down. Sorry, we've not finished working, get your pens out. You will work. And then we'll party. He says that the first part of the discipline equation is the reason why. You need a strong enough reason why, and what Ross is referring to there is the consequence. Yeah. So it might be well, what will happen if I don't? And if that's strong enough, that's going to help be a motivator. Then the second part of it is the enjoyment of the process. If you don't enjoy doing it, you're going to struggle to be disciplined at doing it, okay? So it's your strong enough reason why, plus enough enjoyment of the process, minus the friction. So if it's really, really hard to do, if you're going to have to get a load of people to help you, or you need to raise a load of money, if it's really, really hard to do, you're going to struggle to be disciplined. Now, it's not about having all three of those perfect. It's about making sure it's balanced enough. So some things, I think he spoke about, he was speaking to Simon Sinek, and he said about putting out the bins. The reason why alone was enough, because even though he doesn't enjoy the process, and even though there's loads of friction, I've got to get my shoes on, I've got to go out, I've got to put the bins out, it's cold, it's raining, the reason why was enough, because if he doesn't, it's going to overflow, it's going to stink, and also he's going to get a fine. So because the reason why was strong enough, that is enough of a motivator to just be disciplined and get it done. Think about that with everything in your life. What is it you are not being disciplined at? Look at those three areas. Maybe your reason why isn't strong enough. Maybe there's too much friction, and maybe you don't enjoy the process enough. They're the three things to focus on.
I think it goes back just very quickly to what you said before. A slightly less weird, less dark way of describing
Thank
what I just
God for
described is when you said before around, you know, what has living the life you've lived now, or like doing the same things you've done now, not being disciplined, what has that cost you so far? And then it's projecting that into the future. What will it cost you down the line? You know, me not lifting my 10th rep is really not going to cause a friend to die. That's just me being weird in the gym. But like actually going, well, what if I don't go to the gym, you know, at all over the next 30 days? Where's that going to lead? Well, actually, that's going to affect my health. Okay, well, that means I can't show up and serve other people. And then, you know, where do I go 4 months down the line if I've not worked out? Or, you know, it's looking at what it's going to cost you. Yeah, the compound of that. So there's a great book by a guy called Jeff Olson called The Slight Edge. And he talks about this. He's like, what you eat for your dinner today is not going to affect your body composition tomorrow. You know, if we choose to have a burger today rather than a salad, we're going to be all right at the end of the day.
I'm going to have one as well. I'm starving.
You can have one. But if we did that every day for the next 6 months, it will affect our body composition. So the seemingly insignificant decisions you make today really compound into big decisions down the line. You will be where you're going to be in 3 months' time based on the decisions you make today.
Give it up for our speakers, everybody. Amazing. Okay, so I know I said I wasn't going to bang on about everything that's inside the membership, and that's true. I didn't lie to you. I'm not going to tell you everything because it's free to join. Go over there, find out for yourself. But one thing I do want to make sure you're aware of is pretty much almost every guest that you listen to on this podcast also agrees to do a further around about 30 minutes worth of the chat that is only available to the members only. Because what we do is we invite our members to listen to a lot of these podcasts being recorded live. And then once we've finished, they stay on the live on Zoom where they can actually ask questions to the guest speaker and get more personalized, bespoke answers. Now, if you want to be on the upcoming episodes, if you want to meet these guests and put your question to them, and if you also want to right now start to listen to all the past few years worth of these conversations, head on over to the link in the show notes, start your free trial today, and just to let you know as well, it's less than £5 a week after your free trial ends. So it's not going to cost you a lot of money, even if you want to stay long term. Click that link, start your trial, go listen to the content, get your invite to come and join us on all future podcast recordings, and I look forward to seeing you in our amazing, incredible community of people in the membership area. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode today, and I'll see you next time.